We're doing IDA first. I see.
IDA has to be done first, so we can appoint.
Oh, that's right.
So we can appoint, because I actually asked that question. I'm like, I thought that was the reason. They are out of order though.
Yes, they are.
I like the same thing. I'm shuffling them on. Like,
Somebody paid attention.
I should remember that.
first time I ever encountered this. So we
Got everything mixed
are
up.
doing these out of order so we can appoint an LDC member and then we can have the LDC meeting with the full president. Okay? So there are privilege of the floor. It doesn't look like the public is here. I don't see anybody. Happy New Year, Justin. Our minutes are on page 3. If we can have an affirmation that they've been received and a motion that they're acceptable as presented.
So moved.
Dave, Converse first, second please.
Second.
Ed, second. Any discussion or modifications to the minutes? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report, Paul, page 6, please.
Well, I did not realize that we were doing them in a different order, so I'm a little, so,
Page 6 of the IDA package.
well, we're at the end of the year, so you get a good view of where we are versus the budget. And it's a little hard to drill down through because of the amount of ARPA money that came in. So it shows like $8 million to the good. But that is pretty much due to all the ARPA money and the YMCA money flowing through the organization. But what I looked at was the balance sheets from last year at this time to today. And our total liability and capital is up over $1 million from the previous year, which is a good sign. And unless there's any questions, everything else seemed in order, including our outstanding, all our loan, the revolving loan fund. So everyone's current. If there's no questions, I'd move the treasurer's report.
Okay, we have a first, we have a second, please.
Second.
You're not an IDA member. Sorry.
Oh.
I got
Second.
called on that.
It is the wrong meeting. Oh, you made the report for the correct meeting, right?
Yes, yes, I did.
Sorry for all the confusion this morning, folks. Okay, Lisa was a second. I think the only comment I would make, and I know this is later on, when you look at the RLF, or excuse me, micro loan fund, we do, and Lyle, you made some adjustments in our budget because we're about 30% of our total loans is bad debt right now, or potential bad debt. So it's a higher amount than normal.
We reviewed the doubtful accounts and adjusted accordingly.
Okay, and I just wanted to reaffirm that for the public that we've already taken that into account in the budget and this is a normality. Okay. That was it. Any other discussion?
So did I see, which is encouraging, the fact that half of that $10 million for the Y has been dispersed out through?
9 million.
It wasn't
Half of the 9 million.
Half of 9 million.
half of that, it's roughly
It
5
has
million.
been.
It's
It's
4.5.
nice to see that's working well.
And if you actually subtract off on the income statement, if you subtract off the Y and everything, we still collected a little bit more revenue than anticipated and we spent a little less. So I mean, once you subtract off the big numbers, it kind of drills down to the fact of what Paul said. We still are very comparable or better than last year. So, well done. Any other discussion? Okay, we have a first, second, all in favor to accept the treasurer's report, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries. Okay. Page, actually not page, Paul, anything you want to add for alternative energy? I know we didn't have a committee meeting, but.
We've had nothing.
And there's just a report you'd asked me, I checked with Jen Gaffney, Saginaw Harbor School District, has not heard from Borlex yet, and I don't believe the town, she checked with town, I sent it up to the town too, and I don't think they have either, so. I may reach out to them just to see what their plans are at this point.
Well, I know the schools in the Borlex project or any of the projects don't grant the exemption. And you know what we went through with the Line Central with what their plans were. So I just wonder if they're waiting to see, the state hasn't removed the temporary restraining order that the state has on that valuation model still in place. So I wonder if everyone's waiting to see what comes out of that mess before they make it. But I imagine financing, big change in the financials of these projects possibly, that may be delaying making a decision to move forward. So,
I noticed Lewis County, I'll coin it the fertile soil fee. I don't know what they actually call it, but remember we had the discussion about prime farmlands? They actually, is it Lewis or St. Lawrence? One of the two counties
Yeah.
passed some part of a resolution which we were originally modeling. Did we ever go any further with that? I know we had a lot of discussion about
The
it.
conclusion, I think, at this level was that, and Dave knows, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding was that it's, it's one hard kind of challenge, what the local, we didn't want to be in a position, I guess, of telling local
Okay.
property owners what they could or could not do. We were
Okay.
leaving up to the town board is going to approve the project. We weren't going to.
I partly recollect that. I just wanted to ask
Yeah,
the question
basically,
again, because it's been at least 6 months since we brought that topic up.
Well, it's surfacing again in Clayton. I mean, there's a group there that's starting to take a hard look at it. And at the end of the day, really, what tools does the community, the non-property owner, have to steer that in one direction or the other? And
well, it
the fact
depends on
is-
what type of project you're talking about. I mean, I talk about Borlax, Riverside, and Tracy, and they're all being run through the state who are approving it. And they, on every one of them so far, they've waived local zoning
That's what I'm saying.
requirements in something which has Clayton more than Orleans upset from what I've read in the documents. So their only real thing is taxation. If they really need tax abatement, they may have a nut to get them to change some of those things.
The other thing, just 2 days ago, Times did a nice article on Governor Hochul's new initiatives, bringing battery storage into every one of these units now. 6 gigawatts of battery storage in less than like 5 years, which is 20% of the build out. In other words, NYSERDA in the state's view is that, and seemingly from the article, recently rolled out, is 20% of every project, the capacity, 20% of the capacity of every new built project is going to have to be accepted by battery storage, or the capability for battery
Yeah,
storage.
but if you read that whole press release, at the level they're talking, it'll give you 4 hours of.
Exactly.
4 hours.
But you start putting 20% of that capacity cost into battery storage, it is so significantly going to increase the cost of every solar project. It's staggering. I
Well,
don't
it
know how
increases
they're
the
gonna-
cost, but it creates more revenue stream for them. Because when they can sell their power at the price they choose versus
Yeah.
what they're forced to. Because when you generate energy, it's instantaneous. Battery storage is you choose,
Yeah.
dump it to ground or put it on a line.
We had a discussion back, if you recall, we were talking about how do we handle in a pilot battery storage? And at that time, I forget what company it was, they were talking about
It was the
the
first one.
massive decline in the cost per megawatt of battery storage is just dropping dramatically. whether or not
It's
it
getting
had-
there. I think with the initiative, with this infrastructure spending, we're gonna be mining and refining lithium in this country, the costs will go down. And like the stuff that's going on locally with some of the battery production, but I mean, if you're gonna be shipping batteries from basically China, I mean, they're gonna control the market until we actually take,
But when you look at the storage we have on some of these projects, they're at the 20% of 5 megawatt. What did Oya? They had 2 or 3 megawatts,
Yeah, I forget what the oil
a
was.
couple
I think they
megawatts.
needed
And when they're 5 megawatts, a 1 megawatt battery is your 20%. So
I think they described those to National Grid, if I'm not mistaken, had some thresholds where you needed to be at a certain amount for them to even consider additional granting. I don't remember what the percentage was, it might have been 15 or 20, it might have been 30, I don't know.
well, maybe sometime we should have them come in and explain that town of Watertown with, because they have that special arrangement with National Grid for
Yeah.
storage.
And then, yeah.
I forget the name of I know the name of the project, but what they called that program,
Non-wires alternative.
the non-wire
And that was something
alternative.
the natural grid utilities were required by the state to look at. It's kind of a way to reduce burden on the grid. And we end up treating that battery storage with the same per megawatt fee that we do with the solar project.
Yeah, we just started that based upon input from Justin.
And that was another one. Anything else for alternative energy to bring up? In Mr. Jennings' absence, I'll just quickly recap the audit committee had a meeting on, what day was it, December 16th, met with the auditing firm. We have a resolution directly after this, and essentially what's in the minutes or exactly what's in the resolution in the auditing, where we have an audit to approve and value and some dates. So I don't know if Dave or Paul or Rob, anything to add that I didn't cover?
No, they did a comprehensive presentation.
All right, so page 16 is our first resolution. Resolution number 01.05.2023.01 to engage auditors for annual audit. The audit committee met on December 16th with Flowers and Company CPAs PLLC. And whereas Flowers and Company presented an engagement letter to audit the financial statements for the 15-month period, October 1, 2021 through December 31, 2022, including JCCFDC. The fee will be $14,900 for the audit and $1,200 for the preparation of information returns for JCCFDC, and $4,800 for the single audit, for a total of $20,900. The audit committee approved the engagement, and we have the engagement letter and the resolution. So with that, I would ask for a motion to accept the resolution.
So moved.
Dave Converse.
Second.
Paul, second. Any other discussion or questions about this?
The only thing I'd like to add is that, the cost has gone up this year, but we do have all that ARPA money that they have to look through.
Plus 15 months, kind of doing two audits. I think she described they're basically doing two audits.
Yeah, then right, as Dave said, we have a single audit because of the federal funds.
But going back in history, the cost of a typical audit for this has been $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 on a bad year. Will next year the price of this audit be cut in half, or?
Do we have any more ARPA money for next year's?
Yeah, there will be.
Probably consider this to be the cost next year.
Wasn't there a new standard that they had to add to?
Well, we have to do a single audit.
Yeah.
The only new standard is a GASB standard, and that's a calculation of the net value of leased property.
So,
It may be down a little bit because we won't have that extra 3 months.
We won't have 15 months, so it should drop slightly.
Yeah.
But the price goes up 15 or 20% every year anyway.
We'll still have to have a single audit because
Yes.
we're looking at more ARPA funds coming. from the
As
county.
long as we receive ARPA funds, we'll do a single audit.
The other thing that they made us aware of is, while they can do a 15-month audit, the tax returns have to be done on
Right.
3 months and 12
Right, that's
months.
right.
There's nothing in the federal IRS that allows a 15 months.
Yeah, that's right, so there's two sets of tax
That's a
returns.
tax return.
We have a first, second, any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Dave Converse, loan review, page 28 of our packet. You need it or you got it? I got it printed out. I'm old fashioned to look at paper. Something for Joy to shred.
Yeah. I like that.
Keep the shred con in business. Support local
Loan
businesses.
review, we received a request from Lisa Weber from LCO Destiny. Her request was $375. Our recommendation is $250. We're looking to see if we can backfill the balance of that with $125,000 from North Country Alliance. The terms are 5% with a 5-year amortization. It's for working capital. Basically, if everyone remembers that, timeless frames was real big in this community. A couple of things happened at the same time. Lisa's #1 client closed up at the time of COVID. And of course, then she was shut down during COVID. She owed us money back then. She sold her building, paid us off. She's restructured. Some of her restructuring is bringing, materials in and product in from China. She just needs working capital to cover that baseline. Went over a lot of financials with Lisa. in executive session. I don't know if anyone that wasn't here would like to, go through that if we were, I'd say we go into executive session, but I guess Lisa and Ed, you're the.
Lisa and Ed, John, you were present, but you might have reconsidered if you have more questions or not, but yeah, thanks for asking that.
No, I'm happy with.
Okay, because all the packets were in the loan review. There's a lot of confidential information. They're not in this package because it's confidential.
She had a pretty thorough business plan. I mean, essentially, it's working capital to handle cash flow while she has to pay for the orders, and there's that lag time before she gets paid by the customers. And the shipping.
But it's a fair assessment to say everybody on the loan committee is comfortable with this loan, right?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Anything else?
No,
All right, so we have page 30, resolution number 0.05.2023.02, resolution for authorizing revolving loan to LCO Destiny LLC doing business as Times Frames. Whereas LCO Destiny has requested a revolving loan in the amount of $375,000 to be used for working capital. There are currently 28 employees with a plan to add 7 within 3 years. I'll emphasize 5 of them were in the first 2. Staff reviewed and requested and recommend a JCIDA revolving loan in the amount of $250,000 with the balance request coming from $125,000 from North Country Alliance. On December 28th, the Loan Review Committee of Jefferson County Industrial Development Agency reviewed the request and modified the request to approve for the full board of directors to consider in this resolution a $250,000 loan at a rate of 5% with a 5% or 5-year amortization. Collateral will be co-proportional for position lien on assets of the business and personal guarantee of Lisa Weber. The loan will be contingent upon approval of $125,000 participation loan from North Country Alliance with an additional contingency that Lisa Weber and Joseph Weber do not collect payment on their personal loans to the company as long as the company owes money to the IDA. So the resolution is those contingencies for $250,000, 5%, 5 years with the various contingencies. Do we have a motion to accept this resolution?
I will move it.
Dave Converse, a first. Second, please.
So moved.
Lisa, a second. Any further discussion or questions? And as Dave suggested, if there is a need to go into executive session for those that were not here, or if even you were here and have additional questions, we can do that because there's a lot of personal and confidential information.
I'll just share that the North Country Alliance Loan Review Committee meets next on the 11th, and then their full board meeting on the 18th.
Okay, so everyone's fully advised. We have a first and second, and then I'll ask for an approval to accept the resolution. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution does carry.
And Justin, we'll look at pulling you in on this because assuming they approve it, we'll be doing a participation loan with us as the lead.
Lisa, page 31, nominating committee, please.
Yes, it seems like it's old news.
I can't believe you had a 4-minute meeting. I'm like, I was looking at that. I'm like 9:54 to 9:57. How do you even sit down for 3 minutes?
Easy work.
It's giving you a goal around.
I know.
Oh.
Keep talking.
Oh.
Three meetings in a row.
I know.
Well, the nominating committee did meet on November 23rd, and we proposed the following slate of officers. Chairman Rob would continue. Vice Chair would be Bill Johnson, Treasurer Paul, Secretary Ed Waldroff. And we also agreed and look forward to, well, that's a separate resolution. But anyway, that was the slate.
Okay.
So,
We'll do these in order then, that's fine. So the first resolution was just discussed, resolution, page 32 of your packet, 01.05.2023.03. Nominating committee met on November 23rd, 2022, and recommended the following slate of officers for the 2022 calendar year. Chairman, Robert E. Eliasa Jr., Vice Chairman, William Johnson, Treasurer, Paul Warnick, Secretary, W. Edward Waldroff, and Be resolved, the board of directors approves the slate of officers by passing this resolution. So do we have a motion to accept the resolution?
I'll move it.
Ed, the first?
I'll second it if it's okay.
Might as well.
I'm not sure.
The rest of, first, second, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good, thank you. Welcome aboard, everybody, again. Don't overuse the company jet this year. Lisa, you have a second.
Yeah, we do have a second resolution, and that is to reappoint Christine Powers for a new term on the LDC. Thank
Okay.
you.
And that's page 33 of our packet. Resolution number 01.05.2023.04, reappointing JCLDC board member Christine Powers. Whereas the nominating committee met on November 23rd, 2022, and recommend reappointment of Christine Powers effective immediately and ending on December 31, 2027. The board of directors, by passing this resolution, will follow the recommendation to set forth in this resolution. So do we have a first to accept this resolution?
So moved.
Reappointing? Lisa?
I'll second it.
Ed, second, okay. Any discussion? Christine?
Want me to leave the room?
Can we go into executive?
All in favor, aye.
First
Aye.
meeting and you're doing it.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Christine, you are servitude for another 4 years. Oh, yes, thank you, Matt. I should have started with, Dave reminded me, I should have welcomed you officially to our board, John.
Thank you. I'm glad
And
to
Happy
be
New Year. We did it informally early on.
here.
but
We did
yes,
it, the committee.
To recognize for the public, welcome aboard, John, is our new board member. He was appointed by the county legislators and, John
Thank you.
Condino, correct.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, thank you.
Glad to have you.
Unfinished business, I wrote a couple other things down, and then Arsenal Street, it sounds like somebody wants to give an update on Arsenal Street, 146 Arsenal Street.
Sure, Only
Only if you want to, it's on here.
Yeah, no, I covered a meeting last week, everything, typically, as you might expect, they run into a few delays and issues along the way, but they're still on schedule. Marshall, I think you did a tour previously, but I was.
Yeah, it looks outstanding. As Dave said, there's been some little things, but I think overall, they are like exactly on schedule. And it is an impressive undertaking.
Purcell's doing a fantastic job working with managing the
I
project.
can't imagine what it was like dealing with the recent storm with that whole roof open.
Yeah, must have been something. But then, the thing is about the equipment is so, the steel and all that stuff is so heavy duty. Obviously, it certainly wasn't going to fall down, but working in that would be something, that's for sure.
You see they got the steel up where the roof is going to be raised now for the tennis courts areas.
The size of it is something.
Good.
When will it be significantly complete according to the schedule?
Like fall of next
Yeah,
year,
well,
wasn't
next
it?
year.
Yeah,
So the fall.
I wouldn't be
Next
surprised
year,
if
2024?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
No,
this
Oh,
year.
sorry, this is-
Well,
this is-
2023.
oh, That's right, we're 23. We're already in 23, right?
Yeah.
I think that next quarter, you'll
It'll be
see
pretty
some
significant, yeah.
significant, it'll look more like a real building.
Are they planning to have it open by fall?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
November.
Terrific.
Good stuff. I wrote down two other things, well, one other thing, under unfinished business. We
Yeah.
had governance recommended to update the bylaws, and then there was one other policy called lending collection. I think they're probably in process through staff and council, or were they updated and we just didn't vote on them yet?
No, we did that last month.
Did we?
Yeah.
Because I don't have a draft. I don't remember a vote. Okay, well, shame on me. Thought I would ask. I just didn't remember it. I have a draft. We never got the final copy.
Right.
it was that 4-minute
It was
meeting.
part of the annual
That's
policy
right.
review.
What's
You
that?
were just
Part of
late.
the 4 minutes?
It was it was such a breeze.
Rob, if you go back to the minutes that were approved today under governance, it talks
Well, I
about.
didn't read the minutes.
There you go.
Just the chair.
I'm expecting everybody else to. Did the final one run on the webpage now then?
Yes.
Okay, because you only want to ask this draft or something, I was just gonna print them. Okay, thank you, so that's good, thank you. Everybody's ahead of things.
I'm not gonna
except
write
me.
that in the minutes.
No, that's fine. Yeah, whatever. We're human beings, we can make errors.
Yes.
I'm a stupid one too many times. There was a modification, so before we go to new business, there was one additional resolution I'll do before the committee structure. Page 36 of our revised packet, there was a resolution to write off a micro enterprise loan. So I don't know if Joy or Lyle, if you want to kind of give us some context on this, it's a rather simple matter, but you probably can wrap it up in 1 or 2 minutes, like what this is all about.
The
Standard machine.
Standard
Okay,
machine.
the resolution, pretty much explains it. We'll be writing off the 35270.
Okay.
Effective December 21st. The account has been turned over to Harris Beach, and they're in the process of taking legal action to obtain judgment. So we will continue to try to collect this. This, writing it off in December, will have an impact on the micro enterprise bad debt reserve. It will be reduced to 647.30, which should be adequate, because this was one of the doubtful accounts that we reviewed early on.
Okay.
So this should be an adequate reserve in the micro enterprise fund going forward.
Very good. Anything else to add? Okay.
Can I ask a
Go ahead.
quick question, and it may be a legal question that should be in executive session. So we're in second position with a bank in front of us. How does that process actually play out as we seek a judgment?
Probably better for you to directly answer that question, Justin.
Yeah, we've been in contact with the primary lender. I understand through conversations, I think either Lyle or Dave have had with them that they're having similar difficulties. If the primary lender and the LDC both proceed to foreclose and collect, we have a selection of remedies to go after guarantees versus collateral. We could have a discussion with the bank on how this can all be done in an orderly process. Hopefully there's a workout in a way that we can recover the write down and still recharge the loan fund with anything that is recovered. A lot of this has to do with some tactful conversations with the primary lender, how much security they have and how aggressive they want to be.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Question, thanks, guys.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Part of the collateral was the new equipment, machining equipment that they purchased to start that business. Is there any, what's to stop that right now, that business or that equipment from disappearing? Is there any way to?
Liens.
It does happen. We've had it happen before. There's probably
Yeah,
no good way of doing it.
UCCs that are filed should follow the equipment, so if they look to sell it, there's some issues with, their pledges, their guarantees and the security agreements there. And having a second, the bank, assuming they took the first on the collateral, will be part of the overall conversation. If the things disappear, that obviously would have an impact on both the primary lender and your reaction and how you want to approach the whole matter.
It's a
I'm trying to
moving
be
repo
tactful.
man. Thanks, Justin. Page 36 of our revised packet, so this is the only addition to the packet, resolution number 01.05.223.05, resolution for authorizing a write-off to the micro enterprise loan fund regarding standard machine and fabrication. Whereas standard machine and fabrication is in default and has been issued a demand letter providing no response. Whereas our legal firm here at Beach is suing to obtain judgment against Justin Poirier. And whereas staff recommends approval to write off micro loan fund with an outstanding principal balance of $37,352.70, effective December 31, 2022. And then, as Lyle indicated, the balance for the bad debt reserve to the micro enterprise will be reduced to $52,647.30 upon the original review of questionable accounts. The reserve will be adequate for 2023. So with all of the discussion and the resolution, do we have a first to accept the resolution, please? Motion to accept.
Yes.
Paul, second.
I'll second.
Ed, okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Please proceed as best possible speed. Going back to our original agenda, proposed committee structure for 2023, that's on page 34. Okay. Just take note where your name is. John, you're the only new member, so I guess if you need some additional expertise, what these additional committees are, loan review is a standing committee, so it does meet on a more regular basis. So welcome to monthly meetings probably. And then some of the other ones meet less regularly. But we tried to rebalance. The only departee was John Jennings, so I replaced John Condino in various spots. I don't think I really have to ask for approval. This is-
We do. It's
We have in the past, haven't we?
Yeah, just make a motion.
Okay,
I'm moving.
okay. But I have a motion to accept the proposed committee structure by Dave Converse to make first. Anyone, a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you so much. Justin, anything further under IDA? Okay, anything further under new business that the team wants to ask?
Say, can we take a minute and let John have the floor for a minute? Tell us a little bit about himself, his background, and
Got no issue, that's new business.
Can we go into executive
what
session?
We don't need to criminalize.
Yeah, as long as I don't have to really feel anything like that. So lifelong resident of the North Country. Been involved in various businesses, but for the last 16 years, actually, have been working for Barton Judas Engineers. We opened an office here in Watertown in 2012, which has been very successful. Previous to that, I spent 10 years with the Development Authority. And then previous to that, with the O'Brien and Gear organization. So I've been basically in the consulting area for a number of years, a number of careers, but happy to be here. Obviously, I've been involved in many of the initiatives that have gone through this board in other capacities, and actually kind of excited to be at this level and happy to be here, happy to contribute.
Well, welcome aboard.
Great, thank you.
No other new business or no council, so thanks, John. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move it.
Ed, second?
Second.
I was hoping somebody would second.
I know, wow,
Bring
there's
it down.
You guys are
You're
just
staring
trying to
me
like.
down.
quite a bit of
Later,
a
the
pause
free coffee
there.
is so compelling here. First, second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, we stand adjourned. We move to our JCLDC monthly meeting, January 5th, 2023. We've already done the pledge. Craig is the only public, so privilege of the floor. Anyone? Okay. Minutes, page 3, which I have firmly read this time. We have the minutes presented. We have a motion to accept the minutes presented, please.
So moved.
Okay, Dave.
Second.
Okay, yeah, you can second now, Christine.
Well, I was absent, so
Oh,
I
you
was
were?
excused,
Okay.
so I was.
For second, all in favor, aye. Minutes accepted. Treasurer's report, which is page 7, Paul, please.
Well, it's the end of the year and you get a good look at how the budget worked out. And once again, other than the ARPA money, we were right on target. And if you subtract out the miscellaneous income and the ARPA monies, the budget worked out fairly well, right on line. And even comparing the balance sheet from last year to this year, it looks very similar. And I got the 20 numbers. It's up a little bit from the previous year, our total liabilities and capital, which is a good thing. So other than that, all the loans are in the same positions that they normally have been. So I'd move the treasurer's report.
All right, we have a motion to.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a second and third, we're good. Fine.
You got me all mixed up. Switching
I don't
order.
any discussion on the report? Okay, all in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
I will just say it'll be nice to look at a 12-month budget.
Yeah. it's
Have
been,
everything
the
work
last
out
two
so you
years
can
have
do
either
the
been 10 months or
comparison.
15 months. It's just sort of like- feels
It'll be a lot easier for everyone to
Exactly.
see how the budget's working out month to month when everything's on the same schedule, so.
Page 24 of your packet again, John shared this, the minutes basically say the same thing as the resolution. The audit committee met with Bowers. They went through the fee for auditing the JCLDC. It is substantially less than the prior one we authorized, but there is some special audits required. And again, Rob or Dave or Paul, you were present at the meeting. Anything further to add that the resolution doesn't say? All right, so page 25 of our packet, resolution 01.05.2023.01 to engage auditors for annual audit. The audit committee met on December 16th, 2022 to meet with Bowers and Company CPAs, PLLC, and whereas Bowers and Company presented an engagement letter to audit the financial statements for the 15-month period, October 1, 2021 through December 31, 2022. The fee will be $8,000 for the audit and $1,200 for the preparation of tax returns for a total of $9,200. The audit committee did recommend approval of the engagement letter and pass this to the full board via this resolution. So we have a motion to accept this resolution as read.
So moved.
Dave,
Second.
Paul second. Any other questions or discussion on this? Okay, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. What are we on? Nominating committee, page 34. Lisa.
And you will note that this committee meeting was 3 minutes.
It was. You're slipping.
No, I was being more efficient than the first one. But, so we did again meet on the November 23rd and proposed the slate that is before you for officers for this year. Chair would be Rob, vice chair would be Ed, treasurer Paul, and secretary Kent Burdo.
Okay. So we'll do these in order Lisa's going through. Page 35 is our resolution, 01.05.2023.02 for election of officers. Nominating committee met on November 23rd, 2022 and recommend the following slate of officers for 2023 calendar year. Chairman Robert E. Eliasso Jr., Vice Chairman W. Edward Waldrop, Treasurer Paul Warnick, Secretary Kent Burdo. And this was recommended for the Board of Directors of the LDC to approve as presented in this resolution. So do we have a motion to move this?
I'll move it.
Lisa first, second.
Second.
Dave second. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next one, please. Lisa.
So during that meeting, we also reappointed board member Christine Powers to another term. And she was, we were happy that she said yes. And that took care of all the business that we needed for a nominating committee.
Very good. Page 36 of our packet, resolution 01.05.2023.03, reappointing board member Christine Powers. JCIDA is a sole member of the corporation, reappointed Christine Powers to the JCLDC Board of Directors on January 5th, 2023 for a term to expire December 31, 2027. And the Board of Directors of the LDC, based on this resolution, ratifies the reappointment as set forth in this resolution. Do we have a motion to move this resolution, please, as read?
So moved.
Rob, second, please.
Yes.
Paul, any other discussion?
I recuse in this vote.
You what?
I
Yeah.
recuse myself in this vote.
That's probably okay. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Okay.
you.
Thank you, welcome back aboard
Thank you.
officially this time. We had to get through the second meeting to make it official, right? It was, you're right on the edge there. So council reports, did Jay offer anything or leave anything?
Other than
Think he
the Ag Council proposal for you to appoint.
We got that.
That's our
A
committee,
little bit
that'll be part
later.
of when you appoint committees.
Okay.
But no.
Okay. I guess we can go in whatever order you wish, manufacturing, marketing, or marketing.
I'll just say for manufacturing, we, actually, myself, Marshall, and Robin, we did another joint manufacturing alliance roundtable in Carthage on December 9th. Had a number of manufacturers there. I think maybe the overall summary is a lot of them are facing challenges still with workforce recruitment. But we heard from a number of them in both counties that business is up. A lot of them are actually producing more with fewer people. Just between training and equipment, they've just kind of made incorporated some new efficiencies in their operations. They're able to continue. They still need staff. They're still looking. That remains a challenge, but overall the picture is pretty good in terms of what they're doing despite the challenge of workforce recruitment.
Maybe we can hurt some of those Amazon employees.
Yeah.
8,000 they're gonna lay off.
18,000.
18,000.
Wow.
Happy New Year.
Well, let's go back to the loan review committee with, Lisa told us she'd hire those 5 today if she could find people that wanted to work.
And we're employed.
That's true, but
We are going to do some follow-up, and we talked about some skills, particularly like in the PLC type of, using the programmable manufacturing equipment. We got to bring together a group with OCs and JCC, see if it can be done to, can we offer a viable program that'll attract enough people yet after you train those people, have enough jobs to put them into. I mean, you don't want to train 12 people and there's only 2 jobs out there.
it's really not manufacturing, but how is the daycare stuff going, our initiatives there?
Still moving. We're still doing the retention grants. They've done another cohort that's going to be graduating, I think, this month or next month through JCC. We're waiting. They're trying to get the timetable when they want to do the actual recognition ceremony of new graduates, but that'll be another 10 people. So 6 to 8 slots. It's another, roughly 80 slots of childcare that'll be available. Funded some new positions in the center-based programs. So probably another 40 positions there that might be available. And then we've got a meeting, trying to set up a conference call now with some folks from the Department of Defense. There's a program out there the Department of Defense offers that will cover daycare costs, paying local providers to offer daycare. So see if we get that. The state has to buy into that right now. I think it's like implemented in 8 states right now, but New York is one of the ones that still needs to buy into it. So we're pursuing the state to kind of see what needs to be done at this level to allow that. But that program still is moving ahead. We're seeing St. Lawrence County, I'm not sure what their numbers are, but they've just implemented a program similar to the one we did with Jefferson Lewis with the training program through JCC and SBA.
Anything else under manufacturing?
I would just note is of the same significance as childcare. You're seeing the elderly care sector come to.
I'm hit on both ends. I'm babysitting as an old guy.
Well, the state's also funding this program. I forget. I just sent an email because I didn't know what numbers. There were a number of
You're right, though.
new facilities, home-based facilities that were funded in Jefferson and Lewis County, and St. Lawrence County through the state program that's out there. There'll be another round of those grants coming too. So,
But even outside of that sector of in-home care, now that there is state and federal funding flowing in those directions, it's creating another whole segment that was somewhat under the radar, but now it's.
and that's the more, I guess, more responsive sector right now because it takes it's more staff intensive and more regulation trying to set up a daycare center. The home-based programs, there's regulation they need to comply with, but it's just more flexibility out there in terms of the hours, in terms of it's quicker to get established. So.
Significant, from my perspective.
Marshall, marketing, and they go right into ARPA, which is kind of the next thing on the agenda anyway. They flow nicely.
Yes, not much to really on the marketing. A couple quick things. We are starting up our newsletter, which Robin has been working real hard on. That's gonna be going out this month, as well as we've started doing manufacturing business tours, tours of our local businesses, which we need to do more of, and we've done that in the past. And those are always great meetings. Actually, we always learn so much. Even businesses we're familiar with, we learn more about their challenges and how we can help them. So,
This is staff
Yeah.
doing
Our
this?
visitation program, which with COVID, we,
Yeah.
got out of it. We haven't restarted that. So we're starting that back up now and, kind of have a list of manufacturers.
Would any board members be invited to that?
not usually, where appropriate, I think.
I do want to set up, they offered, like the Easy Staff to try to set up a tour to invite the board to.
Yeah.
These other meetings tend to be like small meetings, like what are the issues you're facing? It's not,
Yeah.
then we get a tour of the facility. It's really kind of a chance for, close one-on-one discussion about what issues they're facing, where we can help, match them up with programs that can help. Or
We've done some with the AEDC. We took like 3 or 4 businesses, just to, some similar, not that.
We've done some
to
board
see
tours
some of
in
the
the
work.
past.
Yeah, and those are always very.
If we had meetings that,
Yeah.
like current applications. and
Yeah.
how to-
We can,
So if you're talking about doing Easy Stack, I'd love to take a tour if they were willing of the marine constructor down in the park.
Metal
Sure, that
Craft.
would be metal craft.
Yeah.
Metalcraft, right?
I mean, they're getting worldwide
Yeah, that's
recognition
right,
for
yeah.
some of their
We
products.
talked to them about that.
Absolutely.
They are.
Yeah, good call.
I think it'd be interesting, or not interesting, but a recommendation to, once a year, every project that, comes before us and we are involved in it, that we take a day and get a chance to tour those projects. We do it here, it's always secondhand, it's never boots on the ground kind of a thing. And I think one, those people would appreciate, the interest, and two, I think it would be very enlightening.
I mean, the air brake tour we did was really.
Oh, yeah,
great.
that was very informative.
Dave, you have something else?
remember years ago, we used to do the visitations.
Yeah.
And we'd always try to get 1 or 2 board members to go with staff.
Right.
And I think the businesses really appreciated, not just, staff, our staff showing up, but having a couple board members. And not a huge group, but just 1 or 2 at a time, just.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Think
went
we
through
could
the,
arrange for a tour of the Y when it's done?
Yeah.
It's just, from my perspective here, it's despite what board you're on, it's nice to know what impact maybe you are part of the community. Well, just to see the real property going out to Fort Drum community homes, like I had
Yeah.
no access to Fort Drum other than that bus right out there, and it's nice to see where that money actually was deployed to
right.
help our troops and their families.
I enjoyed going through the cogeneration plant. That whole operation was unbelievable in terms of how, of course, I don't know how much longer it's gonna
Right.
be there unless that's their way of threatening the state to step in, but I don't know. But that in itself was a fascinating operation, from where the product comes in to, the end result of it.
One of the things we're doing, like in the newsletter I'm organizing and put together, is highlighting a client who got like the grant funding and, putting their links in. And I'm also working at beefing up our social media and, in working with the SBDC, we always highlight our clients. People don't know the SBDC, but they know our clients. You're like, oh, you helped us. So that's my concept. We go around when they do the checks on the grants, take pictures. So we're going to put together, my goal is to put together like a portfolio, especially for you guys, so you can see the work that you've worked on.
So I guess what you're hearing is we'd like you to set up either a half day or a little longer tour of some of the projects we supported or
Well,
some of
my
the.
question, I guess, would you like, if we did like a half day to do a couple places, or would you rather do like, is it easy for you to schedule, we do some early morning ones, like individually, like?
Like a half day.
Half day.
Yeah.
Have to.
Really put it on the calendar and
Sure.
it'd be awesome.
Right, we'll do that.
Make it short.
So it'd be more than potentially, would that just be one day a year, or are you looking at as needed, kind of
We
an
can
as
do a
needed?
couple, we can try to do a couple times, let me see. Do a couple.
Guess it depends who
What
volunteers.
I just
Yes,
heard, it'd be
too.
nice to do one for manufacturing and the other for seeing some of these ARPA grants
Sure.
build out and how they've helped them.
Yep.
I mean, if you've gone to the time site, 20 under 40 or 40 under 20, I forget what it is, but the guy who made these for us is one of those individuals,
Yep.
Mr.
Yeah, the grant
Eberly.
winner.
So it'd be nice to tour some of the ARPA grants we put out. So maybe two.
We'll do Canadian Day, we'll do Easy Stack, Metal Craft, and North American Tapes. And we'll do another theme another day.
Yeah.
We'll do current applications, et cetera, like.
I think you're hearing that we all enjoyed those tours and those things.
Yeah.
Some of them, I mean, the technology at the air brake, I had no clue what it was like. From
What
the
didn't work so well is when we tried to have board meetings at those
Yeah,
locations.
right,
I
yeah.
think that made Peggy's life a little bit more miserable.
We made it
But
work.
bringing everything over there.
Although we can take it on the road a lot better now,
Yeah.
you know.
But I mean, I think the board meetings here, even if we have a board meeting and if you set the, first
Meet after.
visitation up at say 10, if some people have time to go do that, you could even have it on the day of, as a suggestion, keep the board meetings here and then do your site visitations, either separately or directly after board meeting, whatever worked well for council.
Yeah, our bus tour that one year was great, it allows for discussion and.
Okay.
Right, we're on it.
ARPA, we kind of segue into, we already talked about the ARPA funds, anything more to add than what's on this piece
Not
of
much
paper?
to really add. We, thanks to Joy, we're really, when they get their, all their documentation in and we get a chance to look at it, we get checks out to these folks real quick.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're doing a good job, Marty. I'll just point out, at the bottom, you see the balance of the grant, which is not expended yet. The amount committed though is actually much less, I mean, pretty much most of it's committed. So like the small business productivity, there's only about 43,000 left in that to be committed.
Can we add that line in the future, like what's left?
Yeah, we didn't get it out to you in time.
Oh, okay.
It was yesterday, but,
Because I was trying to do the math here and
Well,
I
there's a
can't
cost.
figure out what's left, I thought we.
well,
gave it
what
all.
doesn't show, what doesn't show is what's
What's left
What's
to
left
be committed.
to be committed. There's only $82 left in the food resiliency program.
We'll give it out.
We're going to, only 12,000 rentable properties. We may end up redistributing the things to different programs.
In Marshall's secret way to create a marketing budget.
Yeah.
82 bucks, there you go.
Exactly. What we are gonna find that, they come through and there, as the money dwindles down, the money that's non-committed kind of goes up because a lot of times these they don't use all of the funds. So that's one thing that we're tracking and, people that have called and got on the list, we just kind of go down the list. So it's good.
Because we do a max, like somebody's max of 20%. If they're less than expected, they only get 80%. So.
There was a discussion that seemed like several months ago, I just made a note, but we discussed about, you put a lot of effort into how grant recipients were selected. We also talked about, like, I'll just say KPIs, it's probably the wrong term, but like something, how the funds were deployed and how it affected their business. And you were gonna maybe give that some thought about coming up with an equal ranking system on the back end. And
Yes.
you've got a lot of people on our boards that can definitely help you with that. But is that something that's still on your radar
Absolutely.
screen to do? Okay, because I think that would be nice to give a report to the county, say a year from now, say, hey, thank you very much for the X. And here's what we've returned to the community, here's why, and here's the intangibles that, we actually went out and measured for you. I mean, I suppose that's our job.
That is the
industrial
job,
development.
yeah, still.
Anyway, so I keep that challenge out there is coming up with the KPIs, and again, you've got a lot of team members here that can definitely help you if you need that. So, any
So
questions on ARPA?
By comparison, I said this at the Ag Council meeting a few weeks ago. It was such a great joy to sit on this board and see those funds go out. We just approved to one manufacturing firm, $300,000, $250 actually. But still, that package was like a $400,000 to one manufacturing firm. Compare it to this initiative that we just referenced. We had a pool of roughly $400,000 that went to how many participants in the end?
I think it was like 26 in the ag program
26,
and
26 small businesses that's equal amount of money. Now, it was able to happen through ARPA, but let's just ask ourselves and challenge ourselves from a county perspective, should the time come outside of federal pools, how effective that pool of $300,000 or $400,000. To me, it can justify itself for credence going down the road in the future.
Yeah, because they usually leverage additional private investment,
Yeah.
And plus like the 41 from the small business productivity.
Yeah.
Those the numbers add up.
Yeah, it's been fun to sit on this board and see those initiatives flow through the community.
Thank you. Council, I'm assuming nothing in this meeting for us? Okay, good, thank you. New business, page 38. This is revised, yeah, this one was revised, and then there's a couple unnumbered pages for a little bio on the recipients, appointees for the Jeff County Ag Development Council. So we've got our committee structure, which does include the one box for Ag Development Council. It's the biggest list there. The rest of it is the reappointees that I sort of shuffle around gave to Peggy a bit ago. So if there is a motion to accept the committee structure as presented, and then we can have a discussion if needed.
So moved.
Lisa, first, second. Christine.
I was first.
Yes.
Okay, first, sorry. I
Yes.
thought you
was
said
like, no.
it. It sounded like it came out of your mouth. I swear to
You
God.
just don't want me to be able to vote today.
Yeah.
No, I- absolutely not.
But I will
Knocking it
second
down.
that. I will second
Well, you
that.
must have done it very close. I wasn't looking, I apologize. Christine is a first and Lisa is a second. My apologies. Any discussion or questions on Jay? I think Jay prepared this, just a bit of a bio on some of the appointees that were prior vacant. Any questions from
I don't really have a question about the appointees, but on the organization, Ed, you're on it. Do they keep minutes of those meetings?
Sure. Yeah.
I just think it'd be nice if those were shared with us.
Sure. Yeah.
That'd be all.
Well, it's been kind of nice. Rob has taken an interest, and there's probably no one more well qualified in the agricultural sector than Rob. Alongside of my whatever they are. But yeah, his background in ag is significant, and he's taken an interest, and he's sitting on that council now as well. So
I
that's
think
good.
that's a good point. There's I've only been to one meeting, but really important discussions directly from the horse's mouth with these folks that are on that board or on the committee council. So yeah, it's we know there's gonna be an agriculture impact. There's been for probably 20 years, right? But it's gonna be more challenging moving forward. And go through the bullet points of why, right? Workforce, overtime, just go
Land
through
use.
fertilizer. It's perhaps maybe not enough attention is paid to that on a macro level. So that's what really it piques my interest.
Yeah. And the state, the most noteworthy thing is we're the dairy industry, which has been kind of the foundation, of agriculture, and where that has moved in the last 10 years, even as recent as 10 years, and where it's going in the next 5 years. It's very significant. It's a major change. And here comes solar, utilizing some of those land-based resources. Question I had, and Jay's not here to answer it, but the Ag Ad Hoc Committee, what
do we do?
Yeah, where are we going with that?
It's been on there, so I just filled the position. Rob expressed an interest before.
Okay. I didn't know if it was being activated in
And
the
I think
upcoming
John,
year
I
for
think
some
John
purpose.
is on it, so I just replaced you with John. Like, I don't think that committee's ever met.
Actually,
We
well,
did meet.
didn't we already set out to deal with the whole disincentive thing for pilots? When we were
Was
talking
it?
about
The fertile soil fee.
Okay, all right. So yeah, having those minutes, Jay, we usually rely on Jay's report, but I think the minutes of the actual discussion and personalities and their passion or their concerns would dovetail nice to come over here, let people see it.
All right, we have for second, all in favor of the proposed committee structure? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that committee structure carries. Do I have a motion to adjourn unless there's other business to?
Motion to adjourn. I'm not gonna be accused of being slow on that.
Any, a second, please?
Second.
Time it was you, Lisa.
Okay.
Sorry. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. And we move to our
Cash for that
last
statement,
meeting.
or there's like a check? What you said.
Jefferson County Civic Facility Development Corp.
For your qualifications.
January 5th, 2023 is called to order. Our minutes are on page 3. And we have a motion to accept them as presented, please. Dave,
I'm bringing the minutes today.
anyone want to second it?
Yes.
Okay. First, second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Treasurer's report, which is page 3, this is a long one, I bet.
Yeah, there's no activity this month, and if you compare the two balance sheets from the year before, the only real change was when we transferred the $70,000+ out of this organization to the LDC or the IDA. That was really the biggest action taken by this committee all year. So.
And I mistakenly said it's page 3, it's page 8, sorry. Motion to accept the treasurer's report,
So moved.
first for Lisa, second.
Yeah, sure.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion for the treasurer's report follows. Really, the audit committee was already covered under IDA, so the minutes are identical. We've already approved the JCDC audit within the IDA audit, so just to make a record of that, that's on page 10, and we probably removed that. Governance, page 11, that would be Ed, please.
Yes, we didn't do, I thought we did all 3 committees last time.
I don't,
You did the committees, but we didn't have a civic
Okay.
board meeting
All right.
last month.
So here, here again, we were syncing our mission statement with the other 2 organizations. We got rid of the clutter whereas around it, and coming back to the board evaluations, everybody's got them in front of them. Here again, we can reference a couple of those areas for future discussion and one of our upcoming organizational meetings. Other than that, it looks good, and I submit those 2 items for acceptance, accepting our evaluation and mission statement.
I'll second it.
We'll read the first resolution here, 01.05.2023.1 for annual internal policy and procedure review, which is part of the mission statement. We'll get to the confidential thing in a moment. Whereas on November 15th, 2022, the JCCDC Governance Committee met to review the listed policies and procedure. After review and discussion, they recommend the following internal policies for the board consideration: bylaws, proposed mission statement and performance measures, disposition of real property guidelines, investment policy with internal controls, procurement policy. That board recommended to the full board of directors, that committee recommended to the full board of directors to accept the modified policies as covered within this resolution. So do we have a motion to accept as read?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
I'll second. Any other discussion or questions on these policies? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Just to come back to Ed's comment on the confidential board performance, that was on page 14. There's no resolution about it. Any other questions for the governance? There's comparative from last year to this year, pretty similar.
I make a motion, we accept it.
Okay. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
That's accepted. Okay,
Is this a
page
2-minute meeting?
It was 15.
1 minute.
Lisa again.
Yes, that was a 1-minute meeting.
Oh my
So,
God.
so we took 4 minutes for the
We're
first
getting
meeting,
bored.
and then we just really worked it through to get to
You
the
are.
last meeting.
That is good.
So the nominating committee for the FDC did meet on November 23rd. and agree to put forth the slate of officers in front of you. Chair Rob Aliasso, Vice Chair Bill Johnson, Treasurer Paul Warnick, and Secretary Ed Waldron.
Okay, page 16 of our packet is our last resolution for the day. 01.05.2023.02 for election of officers. The nominating committee met on November 23rd, 2022, and recommending the following slate of officers for 2023 calendar year. Chairman Robert E. Elias Jr., Vice Chairman William Johnson, Treasurer Paul Warnick, Secretary W. Edward Waldrop, and the committee recommends to the full board of officers to accept the slate of officers as set forth in this resolution. So do we have a motion to accept the resolution?
So moved.
Lisa first,
Second.
Paul second, okay. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries, which leads us to any unfinished business that we need to bring up. Dave, Marshall, staff? Okay. New business is the last matter, page 17 is our committee structure, committee structure proposed for 2023. That's on page 17. Again, look where your name is. If you feel you're underutilized, volunteer to go on some other committees, we'll gladly appoint you.
You feel overutilized.
We do think, no, we don't take overutilization. So, yeah, it's in front of you. Do we have a motion to accept the proposed committee structure, please? Dave, first, second. Anyone?
I'll second.
Ed, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Rob, did you get yours?
I did, it was delicious.
Any other
Motion to adjourn.
business? Motion to adjourn, any second, please?
Second.
Lisa, okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.
Recording stopped.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, back here, elder care there.
Mike,
All my neighbors.